Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. BGG here from DinarUpdates.com. I want to thank you to our conference call for Thursday, June 22nd. Appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Got a bunch of good information for you, real information, not like those other calls. We only comment on the news, and we got some great. I can't believe this. I'm looking at Johnny Depp on my monitor here in the office. And when was the last time an actor assassinated the president? What an idiot. How stupid. That would be John Wilkes Booth, Abraham Lincoln. Let's not do that, folks. Let's rise above and be better than all that. Tons of information here for this evening. Okay, where do we get started? What? This is BGG. Where are you? She's not here. Nobody's here to do the prayer. Who's going to do the prayer? Jet Set, are you on the back here? He's not. Thursday. Please take yourself. Are you on? Unmute yourself. Say a quick prayer. We're going to get started. No? You're not on. She's not on. Okay, let me do this. She's going to get on in a second. We'll do that segment in just a second. Hang on. Real quick, I want to thank all of our mods, copiers, chat people, which we don't have a chat room anymore, all of our Facebook people, our news researchers, people gather news. That news, exactly as I kind of imagined in my mind. Without the chat, the news forum, the current Iraq news thread has just gone bonkers. So people can devote their time fully to news, and that's all we should worry about. We should not worry about anything else but news, all the time, 24 hours a day at DinarUpdates.com. That's exactly where we made our mark. That's where we want to make our mark. That's where we want to stay. We want to talk about the news. So appreciate everybody for doing that, and all the people that have ever helped us get where we are. Thank you, guys. You are just awesome. Everybody that tunes in, everybody that helps. This is BGG. Say us. Hello? Yeah, hang on. She's what? What are you doing? Just forget that. I'll say a prayer. Lord, thank you very much for this incredible opportunity that we're right in the middle of. We're at the tail end. You've gotten us this far. You didn't get us to the Red Sea and halfway through it to let us down now. We're at this point for a reason. We thank you so much for the opportunity and help us to do the best that we can with it and to be incredible stewards with it afterwards. Thank you so much. Let's get this thing kicked off. Okay? Amen. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, cool. Here is, I'm going to do a quick thumbnail of what a bunch of stuff the forum was chucked full, cram-packed. I'm not going to cover each and every in-depth article. These guys got some opinions. I want to make sure I leave some time for them. Abadi is talking about Mosul very, very soon. He actually, their news, 2 or 3 news articles, or more than that, but I would say probably the 2 or 3 biggest news sources in the Middle East. Huge speech by Abadi. In fact, I will do that. I have that pulled up here. There's actually a checklist of all the stuff that he talked about on the current Iraq news thread. And this is said the most important and most prominent speech by the Prime Minister, Dr. Haider al-Abadi. That's on the current Iraq news thread. It's huge. He talked about all kinds of stuff in there. And there's 2 different translations of that same article in our current Iraq news thread. So if you haven't seen that, you really need to go look at that. It's earth-shattering. It's ground-shaking. That is one of the bigger speeches. It really codified everything Abadi has been working towards, coupled with, by the way, Abadi's Middle Eastern tour. He went to Iran. He went to Saudi Arabia. He went to Kuwait. I think, is anybody else? Where else did he go, Luke? He went somewhere else. Jordan? Maybe? Qatar? He didn't go to Qatar. Nobody wants to go to Qatar right now. But he went to all the biggies. in the Middle East. He's kind of making nice with everybody. This is part of Abadi's his reform policy in the Middle East, where he's actually, when Maliki was in power, it's all about the Shias. It's nobody but the Shias. Iran's right next door. They don't even have to go over there. They just pick up the phone and then call them. Everybody else can go scratch. That is not what Abadi is doing here. And he's all about internationalization. He's about a very, very different policy. I would tend to think that this huge speech in the Mosul coming soon is probably legit. Sputnik, which is Russia's .ru's major news outlet, is carrying that same conversation now. I would think that's probably legit. So Mosul very soon. Go ahead.
Sputnik was also the first satellite put into orbit, and it was put in by the Russians.
Yep, Sputnik. Well, usually when the Russians chime in about something along these lines, there's a reason for it. And, we're getting that same news feed out of several different places, and Sputnik and all that, 2 or 3 different places, kind of very interesting. Also, this is kind of a reflection on Abadi's reform policies, which also encompass internationalization, integration with the world markets, and currency reform. This is they almost talk like they're talking like on the political side of things as though this has already happened, Abadi's reform policies. And I'm going to double back and I'm going to go back after having talked about Abadi's reform policies. There is a monster change. In fact, you know what? I haven't even looked at it. Let me go. I'm going to go check something right now. CBI.IQ. Hit enter.
New format.
Well, it's off and on again. And the one that's up right now is junk. It's not even, I don't even know what this is all about. Anyway, I've seen about 4 different incarnations of the CBI site today. They are in the middle of revamping the whole CBI site, Central Bank of Iraq, today. This is not a normal occurrence. I'm going to tell, we had a big, long thread, a conversation. In fact, I'm going to go try to find it real quick. Somebody was saying something on the forum, and it was about, I had a big, long conversation. There was two threads that just got out of control in about 10 minutes on the forum Facebook group today. And Pat closed the comments on one. That was the right thing to do. Oh, well, I forgot about it. Anyway, it was about, I was trying to remember what the heck that was about. I just go based on the information. It's about the ISX close. The one part of it was the ISX was closed down. I said, I don't hardly remember them closing the ISX down for 5 days in the past. Somebody was like, well, the ISX has never been live. ISX has been live since 2005. Just hasn't been traded electronically. I don't recall them closing the ISX for 5 days in the past. And then there was another big, long conversation we had. And then I got over that.
The ISX did shut down when they were revamping their system year-end a couple of years in a row. They actually closed down for a period of time because they were actually implementing new community. That's when they connected into NASDAQ and all that stuff. When they started getting
exactly right. Exactly right. But for them to be closed down for 5 days.
But they didn't shut down for the holidays. They didn't shut down for this particular holiday.
Yeah, this 5-day deal. I don't recall that. I could be wrong. Anybody out there is welcome to correct me. It's not what I said. I just said I don't recall them being closed down for 5 days for a holiday. And coupled with the fact that CBI.IQ, this is a complete, total overhaul of this website. Early this morning was something 503. Luke, you would know about this. It's like the 404 where the website's not available. This is
503 is another website not found. They're in the middle of doing something, so they had pulled the files offline for a while.
Yeah,
so.
all the files that were typically in the past have been hosted in Houston do not look like they look very much like they're being hosted in Iraq. They're centralizing in Iraq right now. They're not outsourcing this for whatever reason. It's happening right now. They're redoing the CBI website, so we couldn't find anything out right now if we wanted to because they're not live. It's not open for business. Yeah. In fact, I hit refresh. Its server is temporarily unavailable to service your request due to maintenance downtimes or capacity. They're redoing something. I don't know what they're doing, but it appears to me, having a little bit of a technical background, it appears to me that they are, looks like they're moving servers from Houston, Texas to somewhere over there. No idea what that's all about. But it looks much different. It's going to be a different website whenever they get it. I have no idea what other changes are going to come up. Okay. There was one critical article about Abadi's reform policies, but I would tell you to be very cautious about that. I wouldn't put hardly any stock in that because it came from the al-Baghdadi Post, which is a very, very Shia-leaning news outlet directly in central Iraq, and they're all pissed off because the Shias are probably the trend line, it looks like to me. As soon as Mosul is taken care of, they're going to disassemble all these Shia militias that have kind of been reporting to Maliki and take those out of play, and I would suspect sometime after that they're going to deal with Maliki. So, and the one funny I have for you is Queen Elizabeth. There's some kind of crazy article out there. Queen Elizabeth is going to come up with a permanent long-term solution for the Middle East. And I just laughed so hard. All I can say is hashtag fake news. That's all I got for you on that one. Okay, gentlemen. Bobby, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
One Bobby. Glad to have you back, brother.
Thank you.
What do you think? What do you think about all this stuff? What do you think about?
I tell you, this is where it gets interesting. Post-Mosul, post-ISIS. This is where we're going to see Abadi shine. Hopefully, he's dealing with with a lot of issues. His press conference today was unbelievable.
I want to interject something here because this is a very good conversation to have. Abadi looks right now. There is his detractors were coming out and they were saying some stuff about him, but man, I'm saying these guys have nothing to stand on. They don't have Abadi is winning. They're talking about he's not the leader and this and that. The other thing. He's done exactly what he said he was going to do. Brought this country together. He moved it forward. He's moving the agenda forward, and it doesn't matter what they do or say. This train is coming into the station, and it's the Abadi train.
Yeah. I think about the only holdup or the one issue I would see would be what you brought up, were the militias, whether it be the Iranian militias or the Iraqi militias. There are hundreds of them. We've heard that he's told the Iranian militias that as soon as ISIS is done, you're out of here. He's told the Iraqi militias, as soon as it's done, you're to lay down your arms. If you don't come into the ISF, we will come after you with a vengeance. He has made those statements. To make those statements, he's got to be pretty confident in that they will toe the line.
Well, I think his power, I think his centralization, I think everything he's doing grows daily. And I'm telling you, in the same regard that he's dealing with them, I think he's dealing with the Kurds in the same way. Kurds rattling their swords, doing whatever they can. I think they see that this is kind of slipping away from them. But I'm telling you, I think Abadi is the leader that Iraq always needed. That he was. Yeah,
and I'm hoping this trip to Iran kind of laid that out. That we're going to do billions of dollars worth of trade. There's no doubt about that. But I can't have this militia issue hanging over my head. He's got nothing. He's got nothing but international support for it. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch. As far as the political aspect within Iraq, I think he's got so much momentum on his side that there is no stopping him. We saw today that the National Alliance and the Sadarist movement were going to team up as a bloc. If you take the votes they have and put those into the parliament aspect of it, then, there was talk, are we going to have to wait till the September elections to get new members of parliament in there? Well, if the National Alliance and the Sadarist movement go into one bloc, you may see the votes start popping up in Parliament on July 4th. So,
what that does is it forms a very, you just said a huge mouthful, and nobody even understands anything of what you just said. But and I could go on and on for a long time, but I will say very, very quickly that I talked about this on the last couple of calls. It's hard to really put a peg on exactly what's being talked about because the Iraqi news and the Iraqi politicians and the Iraqi news feed, they intentionally mislead because they'll change terms over the course of a 3-month time period. It'll be they'll call that currently the current version of the term is they're calling it the IMIS, which is the IMIS, which is some version of they're trying to give some legitimacy to these paramilitary groups that Maliki started. He just started a bunch of ragtags that were with AK-47s he was using to guard the various entrances to Baghdad. That's what it originally started as. And he's kind of built that group till it's something to be worried about. Then you got the Ayatollah talking about that to Abadi over this last meeting. Abadi gave him his audience. He talked to the guy. He showed up, listened to what he had to say. I don't think that's going to move the needle in the long run. I think there's so much international support for what Abadi is doing that these the IMIS or the military, the paramilitaries are going to be as disbanded as the Mahdi group was back in 05, 06, 07, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I would say that to comment on the political side, the political situation where you're talking about the Sadris and the National Alliance without the Dawah Party or without Maliki's internal Dawah Party associated with them, they could be a very, very serious, very formidable alliance in Parliament. Now, will they move the needle right this second? No, but they are absolutely. They're going to carry some weight as time goes on. And and
those two groups are pro-reformist.
Right. Absolutely, because they're completely out of power right now. So they want everything they can. They're. And I will say that Sadir is always pushed for reform for the people. So that's none of this is out of character for him. So and that is probably I fully expect. If in a parliamentary system they have elections, they get everybody who's going to get votes gets votes, and then post election they can form groups. So it's the very same thing that just happened in England just not long ago, where the current Prime Minister, what's her face, Theresa May or whatever her name was, afterwards had to form what's called a minority government. Well, that's kind of the way. Iraq is a weird hybrid between a republic and a parliamentary system, and then they kind of change the rules as they go along all the time. So, but I would say that your point is well taken. The National Alliance, separate from the Maliki crowd and the Sadrists, that's going to form that bodes well for the future of Iraq, I will say. In a nutshell, that's big news, and it's good news. That's really, really good stuff. So, thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Alan, what do you think of it?
Well, it's a great conversation between the two of you. But I think instead of the Prime Minister going into this, not sure which way the winds are going to blow, I think he's got his sails already set. I think he's got a chart out in front of him. I think, if not the United States, I think Western Europe's pretty much already charted every bit of this out for him. And he's going into this with a lot of confidence, knowing what direction he's going. And I think instead of showing up in Tehran with his hands out. He's showing up in Tehran, basically saying, "This is what I'm here for. This is where I'm going, and either you guys are going to cooperate and reap the benefits of our trade, or you're just going to take a step back in time." So I think it's all good.
Nice.
But anyway, I received a couple of emails today. Somebody was asking a question. They saw the articles about the CBI opening up additional branches in Erbil and in Sulaymaniyah and on up further into Nivea province. And the question was, is this necessary in order to have a RV? And my response was, no. Because this isn't about additional recognition or trading the IQD inside Iraq. This is about it being traded outside of Iraq. And we need to see the difference between what is happening inside the borders, which is just adding to the stability and foundations, as compared to what Mr. Flannery with Citibank spoke about the obstacles outside of Iraq being removed for the free movement of the IQD around the globe. Two different things here. And, the stuff with Mosul and the stuff with, basically ridding Iraq of ISIS, is that important? Of course it's important. It's important for the investors to come in and to do what they're going to do. But again, this is so far down the road. I just feel so good every day that we're that much closer. And you may yawn and go, gee, how much closer? How much closer? Well, we're a lot closer than anybody would ever believe, because if they were not going to do what they, as BGG has said many times, they've told us. They have flat out told us exactly what they're going to do. And if they weren't serious about this, they would be doing none of this. Do you know what? They would, if the world wasn't behind them doing this, the world wouldn't have jumped in and helped them free a third of their country from a bunch of terrorists. So that's where I'm at, BGG.
Nice. Well, and I think we're very, I've said for several calls, I want to see what it looks like after Mosul. I want to see Mosul. I want to see this announcement. I want to see what that news cycle looks like for a week or two afterwards, and then I'll know. Then I'll have an idea as to what we're up to. So, anyway,
definitely.
That's my comment, and appreciate the commentary. Luke, you're back in cleanup tonight, brother.
No, I hope I don't disappoint. I agree with everything that's just been said so far. I mean, it's been spot on. I think that. I know that I've had people ask me why is Mosul taking so long, that, they said it was going to be Easter or whatever, and I think it's because they're doing it right. If you take a look at the casualties, the civilian casualties are relatively low for something like this compared to what went on in Syria, which was just a bloodbath for the citizens. This has been anything but. It's been actually very well executed. So my hat's off to Abadi and the commanders of the armed forces for doing the job that they're doing, because it's going to take.
Well, they actually liberated like 7,000 people today.
Yeah.
What was that province they liberated all those people in? Like, gosh, I forget, but it was 7,000 people got cut loose today. So you're spot on with your commentary there.
Yeah, so they're doing it right, and that takes time. I mean, if they don't want casualties and they don't want every building to be flattened and destroyed, then it's just going to take time. And the old part of Mosul, as we said before, is very dense, so it's just taking time. But very excited to see what's going on. And then there's just so much more. There's confirmation after confirmation going on about where they're at. I mean, that ISO article that came out, them getting the ISO 9001, I guess they're 2015 rated right now. So what that is that's actually, it's a seal of approval for their management and their customer focus. And this is the bank, the TBI is the bank that is doing a lot of the trading transactions. So if I wanted to buy goods from a vendor in a different country, they're the ones that are executing that. And now they have an internationally recognized body saying that they're certified, that they're good to do business with. That's going to bring more business. That's going to bring more focus to them. I'm just hats off to that. The other article that really got excited about was the United States, the UST coming out and giving them kudos for how far they've come with their money laundering and how they're stopping the financing of ISIS and how they're working so hard at doing that. I mean, these are all big things. These are showing that they're getting their ducks in a row. And then Britain coming out, the article that you posted up on the blog today about Frank Baker telling him that Iraq is restoring its regional and international status. I mean, it's just more confirmation. And you got to ask yourself this: why would they be getting internationally certified? Why would they be going and trying to make all these inroads unless they were trying to be what they've said they wanted to be all along? They want to enter and be part of the world again. And they're not going to do that with a non-internationally recognized currency. It's just that simple, gang.
I don't think that there is any other comments to be made. I think that says it all.
Good night, Irene.
I think that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is a mic drop moment, and I think we're done for the night. I think you heard what you needed to hear.
The party's over.
Yeah, I think that was a fantastic synopsis, Loop. I appreciate it. Everybody who was on here, thank you for joining us. It was a short call tonight, but I think we told you exactly what you needed to hear. So thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned to Dinar Updates, to the Current Iraq News thread, to the Facebook group, to the forum, to the blog, and to the Observer. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Dinar Updates, and we send out a lot of tweets these days. So tune in to us, and we will bring you more Dinar news, Dinar info, and Dinar commentary as we're able. It will be about the news, I promise. Thanks so much. Have a great night.